So I'm often asked, Tony, what is mind capture? And I think it's a good question to start this episode. And I want to really dial in specifically how it benefits you. To me, mind capture is how do you stand out, get attention in a world with too many choices and demands placed on people's time? So, to set the stage for this episode, this morning I was going through my library and I came across this ancient relic called the first mind capture book in the series. You see here now we're 10 books in. Self publishes back in 2004. Yes, I'm getting old now, 22 years ago. And I remember people saying, wow, that cover's kind of shocking. It's sort of sci fi, it's kind of creepy, like the green hands holding the brain. And why I want to really focus on this term mind capture in this episode is simply this. I said this 22 years ago. I was very biased. I worked in advertising as a vice president of sales for a local boutique agency. And before that, I spent 10 years doing a lot of this, knocking on doors, doing cold calling. And I have to tell you, I did want to quit. Some days I was like, this cold calling sucks. So if you're an entrepreneur, an artist, a creative, you have a side hustle, and you have to do to promote, I want to shock you right now and tell you what I really believe the business you're in. You're in the marketing business first. I've said this to over 1,000 audiences, to hundreds of groups that I've trained privately, that from ministry to the courtroom to an interview process to writing your thesis, you are in the marketing game, my friend. And I didn't know 22 years later and all this other creation of research and knowledge and study that marketing would become this much more important. Okay. I'm one of probably several millions and millions of YouTube channels out there. And when I'm doing live with groups, they sometimes go, well, I'm not a marketer like you. And I've been saying this the whole time. I call BS on that. And here's why. If you have a great idea, you're applying for a job, you want to start a venture, you want to get a bank loan, you want to pass a class, get your doctorate, whatever you're doing, you have to sell that. And some people get this all mixed up, but let's just keep it very direct. They're very intertwined to me. Selling, marketing, what you're trying to do is put yourself out there to convince somebody that what you do is of value and why they should, more importantly, as I've talked about 22 years ago and continuing, why they should pay attention to you or give you their valuable mind capture. So I went through this before we started taping. I put together a quick outline here and I went into chapter 2 of the book. And this is like basically now 24 years old because the manuscript was written about a year and a half before it published. So let's see 24 years later if what I said in this book, the beginning, is still relevant now. I put there are 6 societal forces that we're all up against in the marketing arena as every human on this planet. And here they are. I'll list them and I'm going to hit on them real quick and why it's valuable to you and I. Number 1, we are cynical about marketing. Number 2, we have way too much choice. Number 3, we're bombarded with about 1,500 plus messages per day. Oh my God, that's changed. I'll come back to that. Number 4, we're very good at tuning out marketing messages because there's so much of it. Number 5, in relation to persuasion, marketing, and sales, we become much smarter as consumers. And number 6, we're time starved. I'm going to talk about the phone several times in this episode because this was not really relevant when I wrote the first book. We had the brick and bag phones. The charges were about $1 or $2 per minute. So if you remember the dark ages of cell phones when they first came out, you had to plug it in, you had a big bag. It was really, really crazy. And sometimes you'd be like, hey, I'm on a cell phone, I'm in my car, I gotta go, it's expensive, bye, click. If you're over 50, Gen X, you probably had done that at some point. If you're my children's age in their 20s, you're like, Dad, you're so old. That's old school. Okay. Because they've been raised having a phone. So let's look at these 6 in particular again from the book. Number 1, we are cynical about marketing. We hate to be sold, but we love to buy. And I'll give credit to Jeffrey Gitomer, a longtime sales mentor of mine, spoke at one of my events recently, that he say, you know what? If someone's trying to sell us hard or it's done in a way it doesn't fit our needs and wants, then we're repulsed by it. We become very cynical. And no one likes a heavy sales pitch. So that to me, that 6th observation or societal force is not even probably truer than ever. It's even stronger than ever because we have everything on our phone now trying to sell us, from pop-up ads to clickbait to TikTok videos that are entertaining, but often usually have an ad embedded in them, or deliberately there's an ad dropped in the middle of that TikTok video or the YouTube video. The second thing I talked about is too many choices for products and services. Good Lord. Amazon was brand new, only offering books back in 2003, 2004. They didn't really come online until like the late 20, I would say 2009, 2010, when they started to shift away from just being an online bookstore to offering everything. And then as we found out during COVID, they became a household name. Everyone was using Amazon constantly for a variety of reasons. So we have massive amounts of choices. Okay. Third thing, when I wrote this research this 24 years ago, we were hit with about 1,500 marketing messages per day. That's ridiculously low now. We're up to like 5,000 plus messages per day. For example, you can talk in your phone. I've been saying this for 10 years to audiences worldwide. Your phones do listen. Now it's like, duh, but I knew it intuitively. You could talk about Callaway golf clubs. Golf clubs. I like to golf. When we're done taping, I bet my feed will be loaded with Callaway golf ads or golf instruction or golf events. We're in the age of Big Brother and surveillance listening. We've accepted it. We've signed off on it. I'm not here to talk about that. Maybe it's a potential future episode if you want me to dive into that. But I'm not here to talk conspiracy. I'm here to talk about solutions. That how do you market and stand out and get mind capture in this crowded digital space? Fourth area, we're good at tuning out marketing. You look at radio, for example, and I'm not here to diss on that channel as a old legacy media. I don't know anybody that really listens to radio that much anymore. Maybe it's your local radio, if it's, local information, festivals, updates, but we're trained in our cars now that we have XM. We can plug our Bluetooth in. We can listen to our own jams, our own YouTube channel, Spotify, our own mixes just off of our phone. And that didn't exist 20 years ago. So you look at the fact that that one media, we don't really tune into it because we're like, we don't want to hear all the ads. So we've gotten smarter at picking up if someone's trying to pull our valuable time and attention. Um, and if you look at this number 5, I would say smarter than ever. We're in the age of AI now. 2, 3 years ago, AI was coming about. Some people knew about AI, but it's now been force fed the last 18 months that you got to get on the AI bus, and it's happening right in front of us, whether you believe me or not. So we have more options than ever to look up something with AI. With Google. I know that sounds antiquated, but Google is still very relevant. And we have the ability to keyboard switch and dial things in and search on our phones anywhere in the world now. If you would have told me 20 years ago, I'd have thought, wow, what type of world I live in. Are you kidding me? That's like the old Star Trek episodes or Dick Tracy where you're talking to your phone. We're in that world now. It reminds me, I watched the first Harry Potter movies years ago with my kids when they were little. And they had the newspapers that had the moving animations of the stories. We're in Harry Potter as well, okay? So I know I'm drawing across different cultural references, but we're a country, particularly here in the United States, that's built on entertainment. And if you believe me or not, I'll do a future YouTube episode on that one, okay? We love our media. We love our entertainment. We love our Netflix. We love our movies, our popular culture, our books still. Thank God you like books. Keep buying them, all right? It keeps us in business. And the sixth thing I talked about, we are time starved. So if we're comparing back now 22, 23 years later to now, it's gotten 10 times worse. And I'm just throwing out a very conservative number. And I go back to this critter. It giveth the ability to access. Some of you are watching this episode on your phone right now. Thank you. Some of you are watching on your laptop. Some of you are listening to it maybe on your Alexa in your kitchen. You're dialed in that way, okay? I don't know how you got here, but I'm glad you're here. But we have so much coming at us that the amount of noise between marketing messages that are coming at us, indirectly via the feeds, the listening, the tracking, the cookies, the algorithms, it's a marketer's dream, but it's also chaos for you and I as consumers. And I don't see it getting any better. So we're going to have these natural resistance about what's coming at us. Oh, I forgot to add maybe a seventh point if I updated the first book 22 years later. The seventh thing is we have a lot of self-talk. We call it mind chatter, your voice in your head. You know what it sounds like, okay? And I'll hit on it in many episodes because it's a great reminder of why we can't focus. We have about 50,000 plus self-talk conversations per day in our own head. It's busy. So you drop in all these ads, you drop in your goals, your dreams, your worries, your own self-talk, things you got to get done. It's amazing that we as a human race get anything accomplished. I'm not being negative, but our minds are just busy. So several things we'll talk about in future episodes here on this podcast and in YouTube channel are going to be, how do you fight through the noise? How do you train your mind to work for you, not against you? How do you focus on when distractions come at every turn to get things done. And to me, one of the simplest little clues is deadlines, because deadlines work. I've written a whole book on deadlines. Okay. So the goal of this channel is really to empower you to not run from reality, because to me, change is the only constant. Accept it, embrace it, roll with it. You can be afraid, you can fight it, or you can flow with it. Let me repeat. You want to fight change, you're going to have a long, tough day and a long, tough life. If you're going to flow and be flexible, your life will be that much more enjoyable, I believe. So, with that, this is a wrap for this episode. I hope you enjoyed going down memory lane to the first book here in the series. We've got a whole lot more we're going to talk about. Drop a comment below. Share some of your experiences, like and subscribe, hit that button. We want to keep growing this channel. And of course, share it with somebody you know that needs this information. Till next time, take care.